Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Classic Quest podcast. This is the show where we talk about classic rap albums on our quest to find it out, although this week we're selling out. But before we get to that, some general housekeeping. My name is HSR.
My name's Chris Chrome.
And I am your lady friend, Bonnie.
And if nothing that we're about to say interests you, then you can just go into the descriptions and click ahead to where the episode starts. In the meantime, we're going to do our brand new segment called The Fun Comment That We Found on Our Channel from last week's episode that we decided to read to you. Otherwise, something that we're going to name smarter later on. And how it's going to work.
An abbreviation.
I'm sure I'll come up with something better than what he did.
Yeah, so we're going to
acronym.
All right, so here's how it's going to work. As you can see, this comment has appeared from handsome_asshole. And I really love this comment because it had some good internal conversation. And to be fair, I gave myself the most shit, even though nobody saw it. But the truth is, I love the thorough reviews you guys give, but you look bored in some of these vids. Where's the excitement? Good point. When you're doing a review for
excited.
When you're doing a review for a classic album like this, you should be more entertaining to talk about it. Not look like it's a chore or a job. See, I'm responding and trying to be theatrical. Yeah, you're right. Good call. We're going to be better. Thank you. That's a good use of the comments to give us shit, and you entered into the contest.
Yes.
Speaking of that, there's the Grind 1,000 subscribers contest. And basically how that works is, as you can see, our subscriber count's slowly going up. And if you guys are new here, it's more than it used to be. It goes up. I promise.
Welcome, all you new folks.
And yeah, to all you new folks, you're amazing. And all the old folk, you're also amazing. And if you're young but just been here for a while, you're also pretty cool.
You're all amazing. We get it. Continue.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we're trying to get some subscribers. We're trying to break 1,000 as fast as possible. And if you subscribe to the channel, you like the video, and then you leave a comment describing either our review, the album we're going to talk about, or just something to show you watched, like criticizing us, like handsome asshole over there.
Yep.
You basically get an entry into this raffle. We're going to go and make a list of everything. We're going to use a randomizing thing, and we're going to draw 3 names. First place is going to get $100 Amazon money, USD equivalent, plus the right to request a review from us of whatever the fuck you want within reason.
Yeah.
And then you get to pick who's on that review. And then, which of us do it from, the team. And then you're going to have second place with $50 plus the review. And third place is $25 plus the review. Now, the best part is for every video that you like and you leave your comment on, you get extra entries on that list where we're going to use the randomizing machine to pull from, increasing your chances of actually winning something. So, because we like you and we love your comments and we want more of them, we felt this was a cool way we could give back and maybe encourage you to subscribe a little bit at the same time. Hashtag selling out because we want to improve.
But it's also a good way for you guys. I mean, even if you're not sure about us or whatever, you guys can subscribe and you'll see our videos for the next few weeks or until we hit 1,000, and then maybe you'll be like, oh, these guys are actually kind of interesting.
That's also the goal
cool.
too.
Yeah.
We are trying to get better. Handsome Asshole made that comment on the Busta Rhymes The Coming review. Any boredom or disinterest we had, it's not fair because Busta Rhymes is hype, and it's almost like
Bust a bust.
And you know what? It doesn't matter who or what happened in the past. The idea is to get better, and because of you give us the motivation to do this. We're 13 months straight of popping off these reviews, and we just want to keep running it and actually try to find a way to get more out. So we are trying to grow. Anyway, done with that bullshit. We are at episode 43 of our lovely series, and like I said earlier, this is a bit of a sellout episode. We could have done a nice classic and continued on our journey.
It's still a classic.
It's a nice classic.
It's a classic of sorts.
But it's still related.
But it's because of our choice. Let's be real. For those of you who look at our list, we've done a lot of Eminem related stuff because Revival came out. We just dropped our longest review ever in the Cornet Revival up there. So we've done a whole bunch of other shit, and honestly, we just wanted to ride the ad money wave of Eminem relevancy and see if we could get a little spike up. That's the truth. We're playing
games. But we've got D12 this time, so it's a little bit different.
Which album of D12?
It's Devil's Night.
That's right. You stole it from Chris. Thank you. I love it.
It's okay, but do you know what Devil's Night stands for?
Yes.
It has to do with a night of a holiday, I believe.
So the night before Halloween, you go to
30th of October.
Unoccupied buildings, and then you light them on fire. So
Yeah.
if nobody's
Well, I
occupying
think
that
it's
building,
just like a whole
you
night
set
of
it-
like recklessness, and I
So
think that
that's
it's
that
like
too.
But it's-
Detroit is trying to like promote it so that they're like the most badass destroyed city. I don't.
Yeah, it was
I
a
don't know.
complicated time.
Like I think they said
honest-
somewhere in like I think in like '84 or something like that, and like there was like 800 fires in one night, plus like a bunch of like vandalism. So I don't know if that's something to brag
Screams
about.
anarchy.
That, you know
Well,
that's a good thing for like your city.
you have to
but
also have to keep in mind that in a bit of a culture where the worse place you come from, the cooler you are, it is a little bit of a validation point towards.
I hope they're just not destroying.
But keep in
anybody's
mind,
homes.
like, okay, so let's talk about the Dirty Dozen.
Yeah.
I had a pleasant memory of watching the Much Music, that's the Canadian MTV music debut of Purple Pills. So I was well acquainted with them at the time when they dropped. I haven't listened to it in a very long time, but as a teenager, I listened to Devil's Night a lot. But as an adult, I don't think I've touched it very much, right?
Yeah. I mean, that's how I felt. I mean, I was I guess like 12 or something, I guess, when like the album came out, and like that's when all the girls loved Eminem, thought he was so hot. Purple Pills was fun. It was like the thing to listen to, and I don't think like our parents were that happy, but it was still pretty.
I'm not gonna lie though.
I remember Eminem
it's
being
funny,
hot.
It's funny you both keep saying Purple Pills because I grew up knowing it as Purple Hills.
Yeah, no,
That's
I
true.
mean, I knew
That's true.
it. See, I knew it as soon as I found out it was Purple Pills, and I just learned that like whenever I learn there's an explicit version, I just kind of replace it in my head, and I just ignore the edited parts.
Right.
Albeit Eminem and his squad happen to do really good, clean versions of their songs, it's still just not as fun. Like this song gets butchered in the edited version.
Yeah.
Anyway, for me, fight music was like an anthem. Like maybe not the whole song, but that Eminem verse as an angry teenager was hella.
I mean, that's
hella
what it's
impactful.
for, right? So.
So I get that. But like a lot of the album, it was like when I first heard it, it was like, oh, give me the Eminem parts. Oh, that song has no Eminem. Skip. That was teenage me.
That was.
Well,
that
this
was
came
funny
out hold on
'cause-
on June 5th,
2001.
2001.
Yeah.
So I mean, we were
I mean,
younger.
I was like 14. Either way,
I think 12. I was 12 or 13. I guess.
maybe a little
Is this
older.
is this around the first time you guys encountered?
Well, we knew who Eminem was,
Yeah.
and then like D12 came out basically around the time I discovered what Eminem was, and it was cool because it was like, I was like, oh look, Eminem, but I wasn't allowed to listen to that shit. Anyway, time goes on, and I just never listened to the album again. So it was kind of like I knew D12 was dope. I know a lot about them, like the fun parts, such as D12 is their 6 dudes. And, Eminem, Proof, Con Artist, Kaniva / Mr. Porter, I think I don't remember which one's Mr. Porter. Then there's
McBoy.
Bizarre and Swifty McVeigh.
McVeigh, that's it.
And each of them also have their alter ego, so that's why they're the Dirty Dozen. So they're all 2 different personalities. So Eminem has a Slim Shady. And
Well, it was supposed to be originally like the 12 best rappers of Detroit, but then that kind of fell through the.
Right.
Well, I think a
through the
bunch of them
hands.
got killed.
well, I know that
somebody did.
at least one of the members of the original
The
lineup,
Bugs.
Bugs, is no longer with us. But and then they replaced him with Swift, I think, in '99. And then basically Proof is no longer with us, and that led to a lot of the bad stuff for Eminem, and that was sad.
But he
Proof-
died in 2006, so I mean, it was a bit. It
Well,
was 5 years
definitely-
after this album
It was
came
after the
out.
album, but like I remember when that happened. Like I remember it, and then I remember being like, "Oh, I guess D12's done." Like that was my first thought when.
Is that when they stopped, or do they still continue? I wonder. I don't know.
Well, they have some mixtapes I saw, but I don't think they never like. I think what really happened is Eminem got kind of way bigger, and like the reality of the time commitment
Like
to
at my
D12.
band, kind of like.
Well, yeah, but that was like 2004, so Eminem was still rising.
Mm-hmm.
By the time like 2010 comes around, Eminem's legendary, you know,
Yeah.
like and.
No, I think by then, like 2004, I think like he had come and he had conquered.
But he was
like I think he was already
but
like.
D12 was like part of that strategy at that
Yeah.
time, right? But then he had his like 4-year hiatus and his other 4-year hiatus, and then where does D12 really fit into the picture anymore after 8 years? Is I guess more
Well,
what I'm trying to say.
I do wanna comment a little bit on D12 just in terms of their genre. Where are you really gonna throw horrorcore in when times are changing a little bit?
Well, horrorcore is still there, and it's always going to
Right.
be there.
But
mean-
like where, in terms of coming up with Eminem, Eminem's grown. Like he takes a 4-year hiatus. He drops
hold
this.
on. The song "Framed" on the Revival album
Right.
is classified as horrorcore. If you really want to break down the lyrical content, it's got its place. It's just I don't think that's the issue. I don't really want to say anything too definitively, but without proof, there's one that's a huge part of the group was gone.
Yeah.
And then Eminem kind of fell off a minute. Not fell off, but, 4 years of whatever he did. And then the rest of the guys didn't necessarily build up the career. Like Bizarre's done some weird shit over the years,
which
dude.
makes sense. I mean, he
raping Justin Bieber songs and weird shit. And I don't know.
But I think that that's his thing, right? Like he tries to be like as weird and bizarre,
super shock value, horrorcore, and I take that all into account when I listen to like these albums. It's just I could see how Eminem being a mega pop star at this point, like maybe Bizarre and him aren't necessarily musically on the same page, even though. Like, Eminem has basically said he doesn't even like the Slim Shady character anymore. Kind of on the record, he said that recently. So if you really consider, anyway, let's talk a bit about Devil's Night. Blah. When I first heard that, I was like, that kind of sounds cool because I was young. And even now I know what it is. I'm kind of like, Eminem and those boys trying to be... And then you see like the fire and like the cover with like the D12 on the back of a jacket. Like, yeah.
No, it's not a jacket. It's a drawer. It's a drawer. It looks like maybe it was like a file from, I would assume like a jail or a mental institution or something like that. Like it looks like a file, like sitting in like a filing cabinet, right? Doesn't it look like that? Right?
Yeah, it is.
And that's why it's on fire.
Yeah, filing cabinet is pulled open and it's the file of D12. It looks like a...
Okay.
Yeah.
And then you get the contents of that. Anyway, it doesn't do a lot for me. It's like iconic in the sense that like I've seen it so much that I just see that D12 and that is iconic to me.
When you look into it, you
it's
see
an
more.
okay cover. It's not my favorite.
But it makes sense, like knowing now what it means.
It totally makes
that
sense.
It's on fire.
It's still like just aesthetically not my favorite.
Yeah.
Anyway, do you guys want to jump into the album? Do you have more to comment here?
Nope, that's it.
No.
Okay, cool. So this is another public service announcement brought to you in part by
D12. And if you get offended by words like bitch, hoe, sissy, faggot.
So it starts off with Mr. Jeff Bass coming in and doing the thing like we've come
usual
to see.
PSA announcement
like I
have
did
been
right
done
before the little cut there.
on other albums of Eminem's.
Then you hear him get jumped and people start kicking the shit out of him. And then Kaniba, under his alter ego, Rondell Bean, comes on. And you can hear he's like... They basically, at this point, interpolate the song Warning by Ice-T, which I took a second to listen to, and it really is that. It's Ice-T's just, like, listing all the language he's going to use on the album.
Ice-T?
Yeah, Ice-T. Not Cube, T. Like the guy who's in the music video later on this album. So they interpolate his song, The Warning, off of one of his albums, which is like, I'm going to use this language and that language and that thing, you can suck my dick, is how Ice-T ends it, right?
Yeah.
And so they basically do that, only...
Well, it's full of inappropriate things and like...
But that's all the album's going to be. But I really loved was the line, it's not that they don't have any creativity or some shit like that. That ain't the case. We just like saying shit like that just to fuck with you. And
they're just trying to offend you. And like, this is your warning, so take it or leave it.
And then he runs away, Jeff Bass, assumedly.
Well, he gets pinned down, he gets punched in the face, and then he gets tied up or like...
they're attempting to like
tie
him down and hold him down to the ground, but then he kind of like
swarms
out, and Kaniva's like, see, now I gotta kill him.
No, it's Rondell.
Oh, it's Ron. Well,
you gotta understand they have alter egos.
Right.
It's not nice to like mix them up. I'm just playing. Anyway, so he shoots him, and then it kind of starts like talking, like, oh, well, this is kind of what happens around Dirty Dozen, and it more or less flows into the next song. So and Eminem kind of, not just Eminem, but like this crew, we'll say, tends to do that a lot, where like the song will like they did it on Revival, the same thing at the very end, and it was the very end of Revival, the bitch I wrote Stan part was really just led into the next one, Believe.
Yeah.
So you can see it's like a very common theme for these dudes anyway across the career. I gave this one a 4.5 on 5 because it lulled. I laughed. I thought it was kind of funny. It catches you for a curveball, like you're expecting it to go one way. And then it's really funny, and it shows a lot of respect to Ice-T, and it's true. They are putting appropriate fucking warnings on their albums, and then people still give them. Anyway, so it's nice. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I also gave it a 4.5. I thought it was good. It was entertaining. It wasn't bad. It pulled off of like, it shows that like they like D12 as like a whole like pulls off of Eminem. And I think that like because he's like the more successful, so they like, you know, and they know people know his albums. So I think that's why they take that same sort of public service announcement that he's had on his 2 prior albums. And yeah, so I just thought it was
their own.
Yeah. So I mean, I thought it was good.
What'd you give it?
4.5.
Yeah, cool.
Nice.
What is this?
All right, go on, Chris.
I thought it was a pretty cool intro. I thought it was a very clever. I wanted to talk about, his name is Jeff, right?
Jeff Bass.
Jeff Bass.
The producer.
He seems a little annoyed right now. I don't know if that really means anything, but he seems annoyed that he has to introduce this album again, this production, whatever is going on. And I think that the members of D12 are kind of just like, look, if you're not going to show us the same respect, like, we'll fuck with you. Like, just to say, like, because this is a connection. Like, Eminem's a big part.
Smart.
This is a connection.
I like this.
And it's
You're
like,
right.
why are you gonna do it for Eminem, which we know who's already popped off by now?
Yeah.
Like already,
Well
and now they're
said.
like, if you're not gonna,
You know what?
And
That's
then,
cool.
and
Good
then
point.
I gave it a 4 just because it's not a song. It's just a really big warning
it's
label.
A great intro, and as you just pointed out, it's even doubly brilliant because they're being self-aware of the fame differential at the beginning. I'm saying, man, you showed more brilliance. Chris, I don't hate you. Hashtag Chris kills hashtags. On that note,
Hashtag shit can happen.
To say hi and tell her what my name is, but really I'm still nameless. You niggas.
so I realized after maybe just reviewing this after Revival was strange. Holy crap!
No,
Like,
it was more. I don't want to use strange. I want to say interesting.
Yeah, 'cause
to
it's
see
like-
the actual difference in growth,
I miss the
maturity,
old
and
Eminem so much, though.
creativity, dude. Like,
Because no, this album, that's it. The creativity in terms of like the overall composition, the clever use of ad libs, the theatrical experience of the song, all of those elements that make it brilliant are there. But then there's the subject matter.
Yeah.
And it's
Yes.
well,
it's from
It's a
an
little
era
more like playful almost.
where is one of the things I've come to realize is there are multiple characters to Eminem, right? There's the Marshall Mathers character, the Eminem character,
Ken
the
Knaff.
Slim
Slim
Shady
Shady,
character.
yeah.
Ken Knaff barely counts.
Well, he's on this
he's
album.
on the album.
He's on the album.
He has like a second. But
Listen.
but basically where I'm going with that is as I'm getting older, I really don't like the Slim Shady character as much, and that's about all we get on this album. So it's
I want to
it's
question
interesting.
something.
What would you
Is
like
it
to
because
question?
you listened to Revival,
No.
or is it before? Like, was it?
No, it's just I mean it has a lot to do with what they go on about. So I think
Okay.
this, like, as a preface, just for my reviewing, I feel like some of this stuff is really great, but I'd never listen to it again because of outgrowing some of this shit, as opposed to it being anything more. Like, horrorcore has never really interested me as a genre that much.
Okay.
Even like my love for ICPs in their non-horrorcore music, not their actual horrorcore effort. So this is going to be a little bit of an effort to sound smart, and I'm saying this in case anyone out there is like, oh, this guy doesn't, whatever. I'm just saying it. Subjectives and stuff. Anyway, I did dig the beat, though. This one's pretty fun. It's eerie. What I like is so it does something really well. It establishes that as much as they are big, scary guys, they're also silly fuckers all at the same time.
Yes.
And they establish that with, like, the bouncy, silly, almost circus-like bass mixed with, like, the shrill, conventional horror sounds all at the same time.
Yeah.
And then, like, shit can happen. And then you're listening, you're like, yep, he's warning you, but it's also, like, come enjoy the ride at the same time.
It's like,
Yeah, silly meets horrorcore is what I wrote. Anyway, then they all come in. Con Artist does his verse. Then Kaniva, then Swifty. I always liked Swifty's verse. He was pretty good.
Well, he
I
survived the
quoted-
abortion.
I quoted one of Swifty McVeigh's lines.
Which one?
They wouldn't fuck with me if I was performing
No,
at an orgy.
it's even bigger. It's I'm on some massive shit. Everybody ignore me. They wouldn't fuck with me if I was performing at an orgy.
Okay, yeah.
Because it's a funny line. You're right.
It is.
yeah.
But the reason why I went with just the part of the orgy part is because that's something that could happen. Like, just in literal terms of shit can happen. I mean,
Well,
If you're left out
if
at,
you're
like, an
left out,
orgy?
I wouldn't want to be left out of an orgy, I guess, if I'm in that situation.
But if you really consider,
if
like,
you
what-
really consider the possibilities,
But if you
it's
actually
possible.
even
Like,
consider their career, it's kind of like that. It's like they're sitting there right next to Eminem and being left out of the orgy. Anyway.
So, like,
all of
on
D12.
a vibe of understanding the creativity and the stories that the D12 presents us with, there is some actual depth and possibility of some of the things they're saying.
Right.
And that was very interesting
I
for
think
me.
It's kind of like it comes and goes. Like, there are some serious songs on this album.
Yes.
And this is
Yeah.
totally not as much one of them. This was more
Well,
of a...
I wouldn't
So
I wouldn't say
I feel like-
say it's not lacking in
Here's my thing.
seriousness.
This is one of the things I've noticed about D12, right? Is that you have, like, all of the guys come on, and then Eminem drops this really serious message-driven verse mixed in with the rest of their stuff, which
I
is a lot
wouldn't say it's
subtler.
message
But that's
driven.
No,
the
hear
thing.
me
That's
out.
the thing. Eminem is it might. I find with that Eminem is more clear in terms of the message presenting, but D12 is still presenting a message in their creative story. You have to look beyond
But
like
what
the
I'm
fucked up
saying
shit, you
is
know?
often it'll, like, there's one example, like we'll get there, but there's one clear example of what I'm describing. But even
Okay.
then, they have a bunch of random shit, and then Eminem's like, I can't stop airing out my dirty laundry. Middle fingers flipped at censorship. Your friends just flipped over to swift penmanship ever since I got on some Infinite. And then he goes on and even goes as far as to describe how when he does his math segment after, he goes over 100% because he actually does more than 16 bars regularly and that kind of stuff. Anyway, I love that part. I thought that was pretty cool.
Cool.
But I just had a lot of trouble getting into the other guys' verses. Like, here's the thing. They rhyme it super well. Every one of them, like, I like Swiftie better. Conniva and Con Artist, like, okay, they're kind of equally.
I
find
enjoy
them-
Bizarre.
Here's the thing. I find
Me too.
Conniva and Con Artist completely indistinguishable from one another. And I can never tell them apart. And maybe that's just ignorance, but it makes it a little hard to like them. I can tell when Swiftie on.
What if
I can-
Conniver and Con Artist are actually the same
they're not.
person?
You can see them lying.
I'm just fucking around.
I'm not. Is Bizarre on this one? I don't think
I don't
Bizarre's
think
on.
so.
Bizarre's not on this song.
It would be really weird if Bizarre wasn't on the first
No,
track.
Bizarre's not on this song. I don't think he is. I could be wrong. If I missed that, it's really shitty notes I took. But I don't think... Because they're not all on every song. I think there's only like one or two, maybe three on the whole
Yeah.
album that have the entire 6 of them on it.
Yeah.
So I don't think Bizarre's on this one.
But then it's weird because sometimes I was noticing that sometimes they would say like
Who's they?
featuring. Okay, well I guess I saw it on Genius.
Genius.com. That's who she means by they.
Well,
Yes, and like that, it would say featuring Bizarre and.
Bizarre doesn't have a
Conniva
verse, right?
Or something like that.
Not
no, it
on
would say
this song.
featuring it. And I'm like, you don't need to
But
say
this is-
featuring
let's say-
if the
let's
band
say-
is them.
well, that's the thing. It's like
But they don't always say it. I just thought it was
What
weird.
she's saying is every now and again in the credits on Genius.com, depending on who was on the song, they would feature people, and then
But
sometimes
like it would be
they
the
wouldn't.
members of the band would say it would be
would
like
be like-
featuring, and I'm like, you don't need to say that if it's the band.
It's really I don't
When
know.
but
say-
it's
it wouldn't
but it's
say,
not
like-
but it's not the band. That's the thing.
How
Because
is-
like in a term of D12,
But
if
it is
every
them. It's the six
right
of them.
right, but if every individual artist drops a solo mixtape, you're still the individual artist.
Yeah,
so it's
but-
like they have to still acknowledge
then-
who is who.
No, but,
Only on
but
some songs they do
why,
that.
Why would you, if you're part of D12 and it's the members of D12, you're not featuring anybody?
Yeah, it's
I
featuring the
understand
band.
that, but I'm saying more of the acknowledgement. That's all I'm trying to say.
but
Just
this-
acknowledging who's on the track, like just giving them that.
All I'm saying is that would be weird. You go look at the Spotify. It's not like it's featuring Mr. Porter. It doesn't say
Yeah.
that because he's part of D12. It's implied that anyway. I think this was such not
Random.
something I thought about much. Genius. Maybe if you happen to watch this, let us know. What I like about the outro, though, is how they introduce the various alter egos of each other person. Like, there is a point to this album. It is really about the crazy shit D12 is going to get up to. The song is cool. It's a bit of a warning. It's a bit of we got this aggressive bars and stuff. But what I like about it, and it's enjoyable, is how it's so silly you're going to laugh a little bit while being pretty preposterous. So I gave this a 4 on 5. I can see when I'm in the mood for this, but this one by itself didn't really grab me.
Okay. I mean, I'm just gonna say I think that it was like shit can happen when you're like a super famous like rapping crew of guys like that, and but to be honest, if you're not causing shit, then shit's probably not
That's-
gonna happen to you so much. And these
that's
guys are
the
kind
thing.
of stirring the pot a little bit,
But
like they
that's-
want it.
The thing, though, and I hate to cut you off, Bonnie.
Go ahead.
But that's the thing, though. That's part of the whole shit can happen is even if they're not stirring the pot, shit can still
Yes,
happen.
I mean, it
and
can
they
still
have to
happen.
react in terms of whatever's happening.
Like,
Sorry.
It's okay. Like Swifty McVeigh, like he survived the abortion. Like that was one quote, like from his like verse. Conniva, I thought this was like a funny verse. Funny line. So she was knock-kneed. I fucked her. Now she's bow-legged. And I don't know why I thought that was funny, but it just sounded funny.
That's it.
And so it's like these guys are just like hardcore and troublemakers, and then they just do shit and they don't give a fuck. And I think that's just kind of what the whole song's about.
That's about it.
Yeah. But I gave it a 4.5. I liked it.
And then Eminem comes in with this, yeah, but I got rich off it
Yeah.
kind of verse.
And these guys got rich off of me.
I gave it a 4 on 5. I like the verses. I like the group. I like their individual personalities, how they come to life, how they all have... They're all kind of psychopathic or sociopathic or crazy, whatever one you want to choose. But it's not like a generic type of crazy. Like, I've heard...
I'm not going to lie. I thought the only one of them that didn't sound generic is Eminem. Everyone else sounds kind of generic, and that's always been one of my biggest problems with D12. You really listen to them, and they're very talented guys, but, what personality is there in Conniva or Con Artist right now at this point, on this track, at this thing, you know?
What I'm saying is the generalness of the craziness, yes.
But on this song, we're talking about shit can happen.
But I think that they all kind of describe things that are shitty and
Conniva's
have
verse
happened.
wasn't the same scenario as terms of the other one.
But what do you... Okay,
So I'm saying that, yes, the general aspect of the craziness is there, but I'm saying, like, Bizarre's craziness is one.
Bizarre's not even on this song, Chris.
Right, but
So
I'm naming the... So, in regards to the song, they're all crazy, but they're not on the same level of crazy is what I was trying to say. One's rapping about being crazy about money. One's rapping about being crazy about girls. The other one's rapping about being crazy about killing. And then Eminem, as we kind of get, is like, I'm crazy, I'm fucked up, I've done this, and I got rich off it. So that's what I was trying to get at in terms of that.
That's a very fair point.
What was your grade for this one? 4,
I gave
right?
this a 4 on 5. Okay. I wouldn't go back to this multiple times. I mean, I don't know. It's
like, I don't know. I don't disagree with you on that.
I wouldn't. I like the type of music. I enjoy the adrenaline, the rush, the fun of it. But in terms of just replayability, you kind of have to be in a mood to want to go and, rape pit bulls and like all this fucked up shit that they're saying. Like,
all right. Anyway, let's talk about Pistol.
All right.
This one has a lot more of a point to it, and I really like this one a lot more because, like, maybe the last song was supposed to be an introduction, but this one was almost satirical in its nature, right? So it's kind of commenting on how all these rappers and how everybody wants to have a gun.
Yeah.
And, like, if you listen to Eminem, he's got, like, the stuff he's saying on top, and then he's got, like, that line underneath, like, I go to bed with my gun, and wake up with my gun. And it's all sorts of, like, just, like, it's almost silly, like. And then they all come in with their verses describing why they all want to have their guns.
Well, they'd rather have them than not. Have them and not need them than need them and not have it.
That's what Conniva says specifically. Yeah. I'd rather pack the heat and not need it rather than need one or not have it. I married this Glockmatic. Eminem's only on the chorus. All the other dudes do a verse, and then Swifty comes in on the first one. And I like when he goes, they must have been wanting to meet the Lord when my parents talked to me. They got me mugged and ignored. Like, he's trying to imply, like, look, my parents are scared of me. And, they all kind of say the same thing a little bit. Like, there is deviations between them.
Like, they laugh at the very beginning when they say, like, oh, rappers don't need guns, ha, 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 ha. And it's like, but they clearly do.
Well,
yeah, and then...
if you want to think about where they're from, Detroit, the times and, like, the robberings and the killings that were going on and just the environment that's surrounded in.
Like, the encouragement of, like, violence, like,
right?
on Devil's Night.
There is a lot of...
Like, the proof line, never say that I'm a gangster. No, that's gangsta.
Yep.
Y'all sound like Jigga but act like Pac. And that was to me a really interesting line just to see them criticized. Because I liked about Proof was targeting kind of just people in general. And you're right, they all do have their own, like, personality with it.
I like when Eminem goes, I say the type of shit that parents slit their wrist to, because it's like, regardless if they're the characters or they're themselves, they're given their message from what surrounds them and what is happening. And it's like, I don't think Eminem is trying to admit that what he's saying is so fucked up. It's the fact that if you're gonna slit your wrist to what I'm saying because you can't handle what I'm saying, you shouldn't be listening to this.
I think that's part of it too. I think I think that, like, you know, for like the kids, I think, because he says the parents are slitting the wrist.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that, like, you know, and there's these public service announcements, and then there's, like, you know, parental advisory, you know, stickers on the front. And, like, I think that parents are feeling guilty that their kids are listening to this.
Well, I don't think it's that they're feeling guilty. It's that around this time is when Eminem and all these people were accused of ruining middle-class America. Eminem got linked to Columbine. Eminem had all this stuff. So what was happening is
Columbine's
that parents,
mentioned even in this song.
Parents are like, when he goes, he slits your wrist too, he's like freaking out, I think. He's kind of like saying parents are, in an elaborate way, parents are going fucking nuts. Like, they're basically killing themselves over Eminem's atrocities on how he's ruining their kids.
I think that's it. Like, I think that that's what I mean. Like, they're feeling they're feeling like a bit guilty because, like, their kids listening to it, and they're also not being good parents when they're saying parental advisory.
I don't think it's guilt. I think they're offended. I think that they're just shocked. It's not like the kinds of parents who feel bad about this shit. They're the kinds of bad parents that Eminem frequently attacks. They're the ones who are like, oh, Eminem's the problem. It can't be my parenting. Yeah. It's that kind of parent is freaking out.
But it's funny how, like...
And anyway, what funny?
No, because I had a thought of, like, people are attacking Eminem, but I'm trying to figure out how your kid got the album.
Man, like, that's like you just couldn't relate because you weren't alive back then. But the kids could not. You couldn't stop me from getting a hands on somebody's Discman and putting it on. Like, it's impossible.
I think he was alive back then.
No, but he was too young. He had, like, we already gone over this. Chris is younger. He missed that era. But listen, you wanted to get a copy on that disc, yo, burn me a copy, $1. Like, it's really.
I mean,
easy.
that's how I had it. I had a burnt copy of a tape.
It's so easy to, like, hide that shit from your parents back then. So it was more that
you could secretly listen to it on your Discman,
that it was offensive and stuff. So even with, like, excellent parenting, you couldn't really stop your kids from getting hands on the cool music that was taking over. Fair. And like Philip DeFranco says, what they never realize is the more you say no, the more the people want to do it.
Yep.
Then you got, like, cool, like, Con Artist is on here too with super vicious verse I found. And then Bizarre, man. Bizarre had, like, the verse of the fucking album. Like, maybe not of the album, but it was really cool. Like, kind of like a whole bunch of one-liners. Like, it'll make Limp Bizkit get rid of Fred Durst with there was the beef between them at the time, but
yeah.
Every, like, line is, that gun will make you do what you don't want to do. It'll change your mind when you're facing it and stuff. And I was, like, surprisingly, like, mature and serious for Bizarre, honestly.
Was it him that said, hold on, it was a line I think I wrote down, spitting, like, and then a whole bunch of screaming kids from Colorado. So it's supposed to be Columbine kids who are, like, screaming in the middle.
Yeah, I got censored.
Yeah, and, like, I don't know. I'm like, that line was like, was that Bizarre that said that?
No,
I don't think so.
It was one of the earlier guys. It might have actually been Con Artist.
So I'm like, that line was, like, I suppose kind of controversial, and it still kind of is. You know, when you hear things like that, you're like, oh, okay. Like, we know what guns are, you know, know that guns were used to kill these kids.
I actually think it's a really relevant point for him to bring up.
No, for sure, because, I mean, like I said, they were being blamed for it.
But it's also to spark the conversation and to remind you, like, and taking into consideration the sporadic, energetic, and, like, demonic thoughts that these guys are portraying onto their tracks, referencing Columbine, which is a very tragic thing.
And, like, a song called Pistol Pistol, when it's supposed to show, like, all these, like, gangsters and thugs and rappers and stuff that have guns, but really it's the middle class. It's not
boys. So, I mean, I guess for me, because I'm used to D12, like, I've listened to some of their tracks growing up. I'm not surprised to this type of lyric.
Well, but I mean, it's got the dual purpose of shock value, but also layering in some truth. I think that.
Yes. I don't want to discredit that. I apologize.
I mean, I'm just not. Like, yes, it's exactly the point of it. That's the whole point of this music, is to shock you. And the fact that you feel it's inappropriate is also to the point, because why? Why would you feel that's inappropriate? Like, honestly, so much shit happens in the hood every day that the fact that Columbine made the kind of big deal it is in and of itself interesting. And there's so many conversations to have behind that.
I think it's just that everything changes when you have a gun and you have like the balls to use it. I think that's just like what the whole song is about.
But like I feel like the song is saying that, like you said earlier, it's justifying like in the sense that people like, oh, you don't need a gun. Like they're from Detroit.
But there's not just like rap battles. It's like, that things could get heated
talking
and
about
like
why they walk around with their guns in their neighborhood. The part where these things could happen to them. I think it's literally on the one hand about the fact that they do need their guns, or they feel they do, but satirically criticizing the general idea that everyone needs
of
their
using
gun.
guns.
So it's like every verse is like what somebody would say to justify why they need to have a gun.
There's a part where they're mentioning, and I forget who it is. They want 21-year-olds running around with guns, acknowledging that the legal age is 21, and they're still 21-year-olds are still not fully developed to be carrying these type of weapons.
So that's it. Like I think that, but it is at the same time making it clear. But at the same time, yeah, there is this perceived need for a gun, but it's also kind of ridiculous. Like I feel like it's doing this double entendre of a song all at once. I thought it was pretty clever. And the songs that are like this, I really like on this album. So I'm giving this one a 4.5 on 5. It was very strong, very fun beats. That chorus stays in your head. It's all good.
Yeah, I gave this one a 4 on 5.
I just gave this one a 4. The beat kind of bored me a little bit.
All right, let's talk about that bizarre skit.
Yeah.
So how long you been knowing Eminem?
Eminem. Shit, I don't know Eminem.
So Kaniva introduces his girl to Bizarre. Goes
Don't
in
do
to
that.
get some blunt wraps or whatnot. Bizarre proceeds to hit on her with some bizarre moves.
Well, I mean, he starts off nice and polite, like offering her like sparkling water or whatever.
Then the next thing he offers her is weird. I don't remember what it was, but it wasn't like too much.
It was pig's feet.
Right, which is a bit weird.
Yep.
And then he farts, and then he like.
He's nasty farts.
Well, hold on.
What happens between that? Or
she asks Bizarre about Eminem, and Bizarre doesn't like Eminem. So that moment right there is like he's now kind of upset, and now he's going into psycho freaky mode because you're supposed to be impressed by Bizarre or Conniver. Why are you asking about Eminem?
Yeah, he's like, I'm in town just for this jazz thing.
Yeah.
And then she's like, oh, this guy's weird. Where's Conniva? Is Conniva back soon? I just want to get high.
Yeah.
And then he just kind of farts, and then he turns it into some weird hit on her thing. He farts again, and he's like, I want you to kiss me somewhere special. She's like, where? My booty.
Then he whispers it.
I'm like, but why would you want to kiss his butt after it's been like farting all
Because
that nasty pig feet?
That's what he wants her to do because he has, I don't know.
He's anyways.
I gave it a 3.5 on 5.
Yep.
It's an interesting skit, but Bizarre's never been my favorite, and it was weird, and I see the brilliance in it. It doesn't make me like it more.
Yeah, I also gave it a 3.5. I'm like, it's good, but it's gross. And I mean, I like Bizarre, but like sometimes I'm just like, no. I mean, I would not want to be that girl.
3.5.
All right, let's talk about your nasty mind, Bonnie.
Nasty mind.
I won't behave. I just wanna get freaky, baby.
Too swift to
This might be one of the catchiest choruses on the album.
Yep.
Don't you want to let me hit it from behind?
Nasty girl, or whatever it is.
It's from behind.
Oh.
Anyway,
My bad.
good song, good chorus. See, like this is one of those tracks where, in the right frame of mind, when I'm in one of those weird moods, it's totally dope.
Yeah, I
Because
mean, it's a good song. It's just a very graphic sex talk
and
kind
then
of.
basically Swifty lets us know he's got no love for the hoes, and he's like, I'm gonna take the girl and then I'm gonna pass her to my friend.
But
and
that
then
is a hoe,
He's
isn't
gonna
it?
pass it to his friend. But it's almost like he says the same line almost word for word twice in a row, but delivers it comically differently the second time in a way that really sells it, which I thought was cool. Conniva comes across a very loose lady who he could tell from being inside of her, just feeling it, that it's loose, and he like sucks it up, and he goes in anyway, and he does the deed the way he's supposed to.
Yep.
but she wants to go nice and slow and go on for some cuddles. And he's like, I'm just hitting and quitting. And he makes it clear.
Well, like the whole crew is like open that they all share girls and they're all freaky and whatever.
But con artist is particularly proud of breaking up marriages,
which is what started to lead me on something. But please finish.
And then he enjoys wrecking home. Cream pies is one of the activities he enjoys, and not just cream pies.
He likes answering
He wants
the
to
door.
like fill it up so much that it's like squirting it back out again. Is how he's described it. Please, YouTube, don't like fucking censor this. And then answering the door naked while you
like,
come home. So
in, like, the house.
Let's say he was sleeping with my girlfriend. He would want to have that happen, and then I come home and he's just, hi, I'm naked in the doorway.
Yeah, and it's kind of like, well, what are you going to do about it?
That's it. And then Bizarre just wants some weird stuff to happen, but really wants to get the shit kicked out of him. But at the same
I think he kind of wants anal beads up his butt at the beginning.
Yeah,
I think
that's
is
what I
he's
got the
talking
impression
about.
of too.
Yeah.
It sounded like anal beads, but you know. Anyway, this song was cute and funny for what it is. Weirdly enough, I'm saying that, but it was cute in its depravity.
Yeah.
And
it's a fun song to listen to if you don't listen to all the lyrics.
No, you got because it's got anyway. You go on.
Okay. So, con artist goes, I'm tearing down whatever you built. Your marriage is through because I answered your wife's door naked,
Damn,
wrapped
that
in a
was
kilt.
one of mine.
And nobody who is not famous can do this. And that is part of my thing.
Or gangsta as fuck, scary, and like, you know, because I think it's more in the ballpark of they're not that famous, but he gives so little of a fuck, he gets off on doing that.
I understand that. I hate you.
You see what I'm saying, though?
Like, okay,
because I don't think it's about fame.
No, because the way the way I think of it is whether they're like super pop starry, they're well known and people know who they are. So I feel like
because the way he describes this scene, man, it's like a fetish to him that he wants to fuck your girl.
I get it, but the reason why I'm saying it has to do with like in terms of fame for me is because if he was super super broke, even if it was a fetish, it wouldn't.
But you have to keep in mind, he's part of the Dirty Dozen, and he's a deranged psychopath, right?
Yeah.
And so he's so crazy, he gets off on the danger zone.
I
Tinnitus.
think he just wants to have these girls that he shouldn't be having.
Yes,
He's going to do like these dirty
like,
things.
all I'm saying
to them.
is, I'm just got the sense that it wasn't so much about fame as it was that he wants to stick it to you so bad. He wants to be there when you get home, bro.
Again, I'm not trying to completely say it's fame. That was my first thing. Like it's behind the creativeness of the storytelling. I was like, maybe because they're this famous, they get to do some of the weird fucked up shit they get to do, and it's one of their experiences and stories they're telling.
I would honestly bet that long before any of them were famous, if you were to find their like pre-fame, it would sound exactly like this.
I wouldn't disagree.
Or if
like,
any
I wouldn't
were
disagree.
like fucked by any of these guys,
let us know.
and they did that to your marriage.
But I love the line, con artist.
leave a comment below.
Con artist got a dick so big, man, I can persuade any to have 8 of my kids. Shit.
Yeah.
It's just ludicrous shit.
Yeah, they just
it's
come
like,
in all the girls.
Obviously,
and
this is just them saying
but
stuff.
But again,
because you
pursuing somebody to have 8 of your kids would be a little bit easier if you were well known. Or
it's not about it being easier. The whole essence is they give zero fucks. So they're just thinking of
rapey.
all the ridiculous shit they can think of to eloquently prove to you throughout this whole album how little fucks they give.
Fair enough.
I think that if you were famous and did that, it would almost invalidate it if it was about the fame. Like, well, you're not really that nasty then if you can afford.
But that's
if you can afford to pay for 8 kids, it's not
that's
such
what I'm trying to. That's what I'm trying to get at. The creativeness could like. Is it not a possibility to think that maybe these creative, exaggerated stories are just exaggerated for a reason?
Yeah, it could be that they didn't actually do any of these
exaggeration
things.
of proving, like I've been saying this whole time,
okay,
how little fuck they give, and coming up with the most ridiculous shit to dramatize how little fuck they give. It has. I just think about it. Like, why would it? Like, if they want to talk about being famous, they do.
But that's.
They are.
I think that's the problem. I'm not saying that the song is talking about them being famous. I'm saying that
if you were famous, everything in your life is easier to deal with in terms of dealing with problems like this. Everyone can agree on that, Chris. Yes, that is. Is that what you were trying to say?
No. That's not.
Well, then what are you trying to say?
I don't. That's that's the closest thing that would be to what I'm trying to say.
Did the lyrics in the song tell you that they're about like I don't understand.
Dude, the lyrics in the song were very clear in terms of they want to do fucked up nasty shit. But I'm trying to just, besides trying to just be like, oh, well, this is another nefarious, nasty track song, I'm trying to see something deeper into it.
I think it really is flossing shock value.
Okay.
That's what the genre of horrorcore is about. You know, the one you brought up before, and, you know, that's what it's about. I mean, I just don't see the connection of they're saying we're so famous we can do this stuff. Or is that what you were trying to imply?
No, I'm trying to imply that in the rise of level of fame, there's certain weird shit that starts happening because you're well known in the city, you're well known in like your people are starting to know who you are, you're starting to get money, or even if you're that nefarious as a gangster, maybe people might want to do shit for you. So I just kind of thought like maybe this is a creative story where the group is kind of explaining like, look, now that we started becoming a little famous, we can explore our fetishes and our weird kinky acts that we want to do because people are letting us do it.
That's true.
Yeah, I think that's a big stretch on this song, per se. I think they were just telling you what's on their nasty mind.
Or that.
Because, man, I don't see any lyrics that really support what you're saying in this. But you're right about the part where they want to share all their kinky, weird, strange, out there fetishes, because that's the point of the song. Bizarre trying to get laid, and they're all trying to get laid and giving you their examples of it. It's fucking fun. I don't find this album quite that deep, man, in terms of hidden meanings and stuff. There are a few songs that have some real political points, and a lot of songs with a lot of real, just like this one, straight up their bars, showing off the rapping. Right? Because keep in mind, it's 2001, so this is basically the end of the 90s hip-hop era. It's still lyrical, it's still about this, and these are all the lyrical dudes coming in from that underground era, right? So as much as there's concept laced in, I don't know. To me, that seems like a lot of concept we're looking for on this one. This just seemed like a living porno in their minds. Yeah. It's a 4 on 5 for me. I enjoy it. You can let us know what you think. Do you think that this was flossing fame or with living porno? Let us know in the comments, please.
I gave it a 4.5. I liked it. I thought it was good. It was catchy. And like I said, if you don't listen to the lyrics so much, then it's a better song.
I give it a 4.
All right, let's talk about American Psycho. Or no, sorry.
No, it ain't nothing but music.
Fuck.
I'm like a walking, talking, Ouija board, speaking in tongues. I've never.
No, I know this might sound like a strange thing, but as I listen to the Eminem on this album, a lot of these Slim Shady flows are really similar back then. Like I could have sworn I heard the rhythm patterns that are on this song somewhere else. And I'm not trying to nitpick, but it almost took a little bit away from my enjoyment of it. But that's okay.
It sounds like let's get down to business. Like
yeah,
that
the chorus,
song.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Business.
But like not the verse, but the chorus for sure. But the verse has another feel. But it's okay.
Well, the beat as well has got a similar sample to that song as well. Though.
Right.
Yeah.
But aren't they? Isn't it produced by Dre?
A lot of the album has
so
Dre
could
on
be.
it.
I
But
mean,
not every song, and I didn't really write down the producers, so not every song is produced by Dre. I don't know if this one was. That's something that you could Google. Anyway, this track kind of looks into them. They're kind of like being like, I get the feeling that in this sense, you know, everyone's been criticizing them, and they wanted to take some time to point out all of the people you could also be criticizing, and for particularly good reasons, right? So, like Eminem goes in on Britney Spears, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
and
a whole
like
bunch.
it's shit
And, like,
like this.
Christina
I kick to these rich white kids who just might see how fucked up the sick life is. Oops, I did it again, didn't I? My shit's harder to figure out than what Britney's tit size is. Oops, I probably pissed you off again, didn't I? But which I started thinking about it. If you really look at the fact that they took this 16-year-old chick, put her up in the videos half naked and everything, you know.
And then she got a boob job, and then everyone was like questioning the boob job and
then,
whatever else that had happened with Britney.
He also like comments, she dissed Justin again and this one and Christina Aguilera and stuff. And like, it's pretty an interesting commentary on like tabloid culture. I loved Bizarre's follow through with Eminem doesn't like NSYNC. Well, I do, so fuck him and the Backstreet Boys too.
Which was isn't that
which is
well, Will
off of the real
Smith.
Slim Shady.
Will Smith
yeah.
doesn't have to swear records. Well, I do, so fuck him and fuck you too.
And then whatever happened to the cast of Different Strokes? Gary's broke, Todd snorting coke, and Dina overdosed.
Yep.
And I was like, poof. Then Conniva comes in, and he's got like stuff like, and she keeps asking me why I rap with a honky. But granny, I'm a flunky. I could be a junkie. I could be hanging out with the coochies out at the club scene. What I liked about that is he's pointing out, like, instead of criticizing me for rapping
Why are
with
you
my
hanging
meal
out with this white
ticket,
boy?
it's like I could be doing all that degenerate stuff, but instead I'm hanging out with the honky. I like that part. In general, it's interesting, the kind of like criticism. Proof points out other scandals, and it's just like names of scandals like Bobby Brown, Whitney Houston, Lines, anyway, kind of stuff. Swift goes in on the media, and Con Artist points out that kids can get into all sorts of trouble all by them lonesomes, regardless of the music that they
With
listen to.
or without them.
So, altogether, I'd say that this was, again, a straightforward, interesting fucking song. I like this one a lot more thematically than some of the other ones. I give it a 4.25. It's good, but it's, it's kind of like D12 almost lacks a bit of versatility over time. So I appreciate the music, but I gotta be in the mood to listen to this kind of thing. And I know maybe that's just like the weak thing to say. However, like, I'm not finding a lot of differences with how they approach their songs at this point, right? And maybe that's just how 6 rapper groups are, but it's a lot of like the same thing with different themes, as opposed to being like something interesting and new each time. And I know what the 2 main singles are and how fucking dope they were. And a lot of this just kind of, it doesn't feel like filler. It just feels like you could tell Eminem wasn't necessarily here with the same level of effort that he put into his other projects, albeit he was definitely involved, because you can see it in like the doubles and stuff. I like this song. I just don't love anything I've heard thus far on the album in terms of tracks we've covered.
Okay. I really like this song. I thought it was fun. It had like a really good beat. Like, it was quite enjoyable to listen to. And it, like, what they're trying to say, like, overall with this song is that the music will take your mind off of all of the other nonsense that's going on in your life, that's going on in the world, any wars, or, like, stuff that's in the news. Like, it's going to take your mind off of that, and it can kind of, like, you can kind of float out and be with them and, like, in your mind. And I think that was, I don't know, I think it's nice to be here. I know it sounds so, like, oh, it's nice, but, like, that they're just trying to make music to kind of listen to when you're, when you need a distraction and you're like, okay, there's all this shit's going on in my life. I'm just going to listen to this album and it's going to, like, take me somewhere else. And I thought that was good. I gave this one a 5 on 5. I really liked it.
Nice. I like the energy in this song. I like how they're addressing a lot of the situations that were going on at the time. The thing that I kind of got from this was that they're saying that music is an escape from all the social problems.
Yeah.
But as well, I kind of got this feeling that it's also a way of, like...
You guys really found that the message here was that they... Like, I mean, I didn't even catch the message that music was an escape. I thought...
Well, it ain't nothing but the music. That's what it means.
But that's what I thought it was about subject matter and controversy.
Well...
And that they are nothing but music was kind of what I took from that.
That is where I'm getting to. That's where I'm getting to, because I got that... They are bringing up social issues that were happening, but I feel like they're also kind of addressing, like, you as in critics, fans, or whoever are attacking our music when this shit's really happening.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like, they're trying to address social problems and saying there's better things you have to think about, but you're gonna sit here and criticize my music, my language, my attitude.
Exactly.
And I really liked that, and I really liked how I felt there's like a little bit of learning in this song in terms of the not the political, but the social issues they're talking about. If we're really curious, we could look up some of the names and look up some of the dates or look up some of the issues that they're
To be
discussing.
fair, when this dropped, you didn't need to.
Right.
Like,
right.
You really... I don't know.
I'm just saying,
fact,
like,
I would
if
counter and say it's what makes this song dated and hard to listen to the more I think about it.
Well, like, there's a lot about, like, Britney Spears and a lot of things that were happening in, like, back then, where it's like maybe like the next generation who was born in 2001 or whatever is listening to this now and kind of being like, who are all these people? And they have no, like,
yeah, and I mean, as much as you might imply it's nice, nobody's going to Google these people from this song, and like, I just don't see that happening, and so I find it was really effective at the time but it's dated now, and a lot of Eminem's name droppings like this turn into really dated, and I'm happy. And like, it's,
But they're like they made him what he was, right? Like they made him so controversial, and like everybody was like talking about him because they were all talking because he was talking about them,
right.
And so, anyways,
Yeah, no. So anyway, did you give a grade on this?
4 on 5.
All right, let's talk about American Psycho.
all right.
Warps, I'm like a walking, talking, Ouija board, speaking in tongues. I've never
See, like this one, they're all in their psycho mode, and it's okay. I liked Eminem. Eminem does his hook, and then he's got his verse, and I like.
He's just on too many drugs.
Isn't it just Eminem and Bizarre?
No, there's also con artists. And then I liked Eminem's part. Each thought's completely warped. I'm talking like a walking, talking Ouija board, speaks in tongues. I've never spoke this speech before. Whatever he says. That was my favorite lines in this song. It made me giggle a bit.
When he does like his weird Arabic.
Bizarre stuff is really intense. Like, really creepily intense. Like, now keep in mind, this isn't his main. This is like his alter ego, his rapist type character he's created. And it's very...
Well, that's
Like he says
like,
that he ate a girl's miscarriage, and then he was eating a virgin's cherry.
Yeah.
I'm just like, ugh.
I kind of liked the messaging I got from this song in terms of a lot of the descriptive and extreme storytelling from here, because
What's the message?
when you dive into an artist's head, and I'm saying this like this, when you dive into an artist's head, it's very different from a normal person. Unfortunately, when you dive into the head, and I thought it was just Bizarre and Eminem, when you dive into the head of Eminem and D12, you are going to get an American Psycho.
See, but that's the thing. It's like, yeah, I get that. I just don't find it that, like, it's kind of what I expect. That would be like the norm. So, I mean, but what Bizarre did was super creepy. I'm not gonna lie. Like, as much as it's there, like Eminem was regular Slim Shady Psycho, and then Con Artist after Bizarre just felt weak. Like, it felt like Bizarre was so intense that Con Artist sounded so soft next to him after, and it was hard to get the full impact of the intensity of Con Artist, and maybe to a point where you forgot he was on the song. Because Bizarre is noteworthy, and I want to give the points that in the sense of creating creepy horrorcore lyrics and whatnot, it's really good. But it's not my cup of tea. I give this a 4 on 5. I could do without it personally, but recognizing the value and the talent behind the song.
Same. Yeah. I give it a 4 on 5. I mean, like I said, I enjoy Bizarre, but like sometimes I'm like his lyrics are too much. Like that whole, I don't know. Anyways, I give it a 4 on 5. It's a good song, but it's not the best, and I would never listen to this again necessarily.
Nice. I gave it as well a 4 on 5. I think it was pretty creative, pretty interesting. I apologize for forgetting that Conniver wasn't on it, but again, noteworthy verse from Bizarre. He knows how to really tap into his demonic sense and like these creepy things, and he can write it down fluently. So,
all right,
fantastic.
So let's talk about the That's How skit.
All right.
They're performing that second track there from the beginning, the fucking, what's it called, Shit Can Happen.
Yeah.
And then some guy throws something on stage, and this pisses off Mr. Con Artist.
Yeah.
And the guy is stupidly identifies himself. Con Artist beats him up, and then everyone cheers. Then they do the line, and that's get fucked up. And it kind of segues
starts the
into
next
the next track. And,
So it's really that simple. It's 37 seconds.
I give it a 3.5. It's got that, hey, the first time it's funny, the second time it's okay, and then I'm like, whatever. I like the other skit a lot more.
There's
than this
really
one.
not much to it besides the sound of somebody beating someone up.
Yeah,
like it just sounds like that's all you're listening to.
Even the Bizarre skit like has a purpose more than this is just we're tough anyway.
Yeah, I gave it a 3.
3.5. It was funny. It follows up with the last skit. It just in terms of not fucking with them. Clearly, shit can happen from the first skit, and on this one, shit can still happen when you start fucking with their performance. So.
Yeah,
and that's how it goes into the next song.
Which is fine. Like, I get the concept of this track. I just don't care enough about it that much. In fact, it's funny because let's just talk about That's How People.
Okay.
I like this song a
Yep.
lot. So it's got little stories of things that happen that result in something or somebody getting fucked up.
And it's for everybody. I like how they make it clear that this is for everybody. It's not just one race. It's not just one culture. It's everybody. We're all equal on this track, which...
Like, shit gets fucked up, man.
But it's the kind of all equal in the worst sense, not the all equal.
Yeah.
But still, like, I kind of enjoy that groupingness, even though it's still
they're
like
being ironic with it and making fun of this idea of all this equality shit. Like, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but it honestly felt like they're listing all this stuff and they're saying everybody can get fucked up, sure, but I don't know if it's really about peace, love, and harmony.
I'm not
I don't
thinking
think it's
peace,
about
love, and
that.
harmony. I just like how instead of picking sides or like being like pointing at like, you know, black people, white people, whatever, it's like, listen, we all get fucked up and we all get into issues.
Fair. Anyway, and then everybody but Eminem's on this song. Really, I know Eminem might do some ad libs in the chorus,
But they make like a lyric about him and
Yeah.
like how he got fucked up.
and Kim just did blah blah.
Yeah.
that or something like that.
Slim and Kim argue too much. It's because like
Yeah.
she anyways, he was choking her and then she threw a brick into like
Yeah, it was
his
too
Jeep and just all this nonsense.
And they're enjoying it all.
And then they're like back together like the next week and like it's just
they're all like tired of it. My favorite one is Proof's one. Proof is fucking deep, man. But it's no love at home with your kinfolk, and the world just keep fucking with your mental, and all these kids making fun of your trench coat. That's how students get shot up.
And like that.
And that's the second one they dropped.
Yep.
They didn't even go that far in, and they all follow that same formula with each person coming in.
like the school shooting kind of feel.
Yeah, and everybody does their verse, and then somewhere in the middle, Bizarre just talks about himself, and because Bizarre don't give a fuck. Well, my other favorite one is when they list about a bunch of drugs that
And it's just like that's how
D12 gets fucked up.
Yep.
This is the first song, like, the first song I thought was like really fun. Really, like, you could just throw this on anytime and it would be like cool. I mean, I know that the other one's what comes next, but this is the first like non-single I thought was like really stellar, and like it could have been a single. It could have been like it was. I really like this shit. I give this a 4.5 on 5. The beat's not like too much. My biggest problem with a lot of these songs is the outros that drag on forever.
Yeah.
But no, 4.5 on 5.
Yeah, I mean, this is a good song. I mean, it's basically saying, like, everybody has, like, their own shit that they're doing, and everybody gets fucked up somehow. But, like, I think, like, for me, like, the crux of, like, this entire song was that, like, if you stick your nose in somebody else's business, you're going to get fucked up. Like, shit's going to happen. And, like, if you think that, somebody else is doing something wrong, then you need to stay out of it. And it's kind of like snitches. Like, don't snitch. And, I mean, I guess I'm implying, like, all this other stuff. But, like...
No, that's a fair point.
I think that he's saying, like, if you do these things, if you get involved in other people's lives, maybe it's going to get fucked up. So that's it. I gave it a 4.25. I liked it. It was good.
Nice. I stated a little earlier on this album review that I felt that one of the tracks was like to also teach them and learn a bunch of things. This one as well is one of the tracks that I think is supposed to teach a lot of the fans, like, look, some of you might understand what it is to live on the streets, or not even on the streets, just anywhere. But some of you don't know what it is in like the social aspects. And if you do this, you'll get fucked up. If you do that, you'll get fucked up. So it's like, it's kind of like a list of things that you don't want to do because you'll get fucked up, or at least things that you're just going to be aware of and how to maybe evade or change the outcome or change the perspective, which I was it was really interesting to know, because now I know what to do if whatever thing happened. Anyway.
I mean, I don't disagree with you. You just got to be the first person ever to be like, D12's just giving me the ethics I need to navigate. I'm like...
I don't know. I would think
yes,
like that.
I look at them a lot more as social commentary than I see it as education. You're right. In a sense, if you bully the kid, you might get shot up. That's what they're trying to say in that
Well, that's
part.
the extreme version.
But
that's as deep as the lessons
But
go.
then, as we know, Columbine happened. So, like, shit happens.
Yeah,
But
yep,
to
that's what they're
argue that
saying.
point, the statistical probability is next to impossible that it's actually going to happen to you.
Yes.
And I think it's more making the point, hey,
Happened
look.
to me, and the guy had a trench coat. So.
But I think what he's trying to imply in a lot of these situations is they're all extreme, is I think where it's going. It's very like, and it's also silly. Like, I mean, look, yes, you're right. I believe what Bonnie hit it on is don't interfere with other people's business, don't bully. There are some lessons here, and I do think there's a bit of an educational point to it. I just think that it's more of a social commentary and it's like a satirical approach at journal, like in the same way South Park comments on stuff. I feel like Eminem and South Park take very similar approaches to how they talk about shit. Anyway.
Yeah.
But yes, there's life lessons in D12.
4.5.
Purple pills.
All right.
The sleeve, roll up on you like Christopher Reeves. I can't describe the vibe I get when I drive by.
I like purple pills. I know it. I used to know it by heart. I didn't. I tried to like floss earlier today.
He tried to.
I fucked right up. And Bonnie laughed at me. And then
maybe I know
Then she
it.
quoted Bizarre for like the next hour. So, I mean, this has one of the most fun music videos with all the colors, really in a cartoonesque way.
It's like something that you would watch if you were high, like on
Bizarre
hallucinogenics.
Comes in with his yellow outfit. Anyway. Shower cap.
His black shower cap. Doesn't he have it in this one?
And he's got like the yellow happy face underwears on. This song is fun. It's really just each member describing a drum trick. So Eminem just rapping about it, like cool, calm, just like my mom. And he goes on, like brings her up, goes into the drugs. The people in the house with a half, and that's not weed. I make coke. Demand, sit down. Yeah. You know, like moving on.
It's definitely not like a typical drug song that you hear because you usually hear about like weed.
So I wrote down a quote from Genius, like the website, as opposed to this song, because to me, like it's like this song is like a staple of life. But
yeah.
And I have a theory. So at the same time, when most MCs rapped about selling drugs or smoking weed, D12 were happy to sample everything available on the streets or in the medicine cabinet. And if we think about the current culture of modern music today, Percocets, Molly Percocet, can you imagine all these people listening to D12 got really inspired and started rapping about doing drugs, and then Eminem is now hating on them? Just a thought. I'm not saying they're the only ones who did it, but
you know.
But in 2001, it really wasn't necessarily about doing all the hard drugs. I don't know. There are definitely going to be other songs earlier than this that explore it. But I don't even think the whole sipping syrup thing had really hit mainstream everything at this point. And this was mainstream all over the fucking world big, right? Like Purple Pills was huge, you know?
Yeah, it was huge.
All I'm saying, weird theory I thought of today while I was reviewing the album. I was wondering if any of you had thoughts on that. I know most of you know way more about rap than me, so feel free to correct my knowledge here. On that note, Proof's verse is ridiculous. Then you got, Kaniva and Con Artist doing their back and forth. It's always been kind of one of those weird fun ones where it's like if you don't really think about what they're saying, but more how they're saying it is better.
Yeah.
Swifty likes to smoke weed out of vacuums and has like track marks in his arms and stuff.
Yeah.
Bizarre just does his thing. And I've never liked Bizarre's verse per se, but I appreciate it a lot more now as I'm older and I get what he's trying to do.
There was definitely something that I thought the lyric was, and then like now reading them, I was like, okay, that makes a little bit more sense, and it's not so like I don't know.
Bizarre nut. Anyway, this song's a clear 5. Why?
And Bizarre's mom is like high with them, and like.
Because it's funny, it's witty. There's dirty dozen 80 of them, ladies, and it's just one of those. I've heard.
And then they're so high at the end that they forget the lyrics.
I like that.
I
like that chorus. And he calls out their baby mothers because
babies, mamas love us, but they hate
shady
each other.
lovers, baby mothers, ladies love us. That's why our baby mothers love us, but they date each other. They don't take each other.
They hate each other.
Whatever,
right.
take each other and date each other. Something.
It's funny because and this is something I guess like I guess I see, but usually the mother or the girlfriend would hate your friend's girlfriend if your friend is doing a bunch of stupid shit because she's letting him do it. And like that type of like I've dealt with scenarios like that.
You have just explained the joke.
Yeah, I like
that. That's
the joke. I like that. I was very
the whole song is good.
So I don't know. I like the fact that on this song, They really managed, because you put Conniva and Con Artist together, they don't like blend in as much, because I don't have to really as much tell them apart. They're okay next to each other. And then each of the other guys has such a distinct way of rhyming it, and I think it flosses
Proof,
their
I think, is like
versatility.
very distinct in this song too, because he comes in
Oh,
and
he's
he's like,
he's my favorite verse on the song, straight up.
yeah.
Anyway, it's a 5 because it's undeniably stood the test of time as something I still love to this day, and I can't deny that.
Yeah, it's great. I gave it a 5 as well. It feels raw because it kind of has like a grainy bit to it. Like just like it's a great beat. I love the harmonica that's featured in it. It's just about doing any and all random pills and having a good time with your friends.
Not just
and
pills,
like,
all the drugs.
yeah, any and all. You know, like. Yeah, they're snorting, they're shooting, they're doing whatever, and they're like, "Oh, weed, that's for suckers," and like, you know, and like, it's different. That's what I mean, like from like all of like the other like weed songs, or because I mean they're kind of like dissing weed and saying like, "Here, have some like mushrooms and ecstasy and like miscellaneous purple
2012
pills."
classic line, "Popped Molly, yeah, I'm sweating." Woo! Maybe it was a little later, but
Maybe. Yeah, I mean it's a great song. I love it.
God. Well, it is a straight 5 on 5. I like the little, everybody has their own experience about a drug trip. Everybody's all trying to help each other out while they're flipping out. And
it's almost like they're trying to be more disparate and despicable than the last one.
yeah. I like Bizarre. Oh my God. Bizarre has this way of rapping that it's just, on this song it's like, okay, I can tell you're on drugs. Like, you're slow, you're just in the club. Like, I get that whole feel. But there's another track that he goes slow on, and I'm like, I like that. Just that like speech rap that he just talks sometimes. Like, he's on point. He's got a little bit of a rhythm, but he's just talking, and I'm like. I like
That's
that
true.
a lot because it's still creepy and eerie that sticks to his character. So.
Okay.
Alright, anyway, let's move on to fight,
Fight music.
Fighting cats of the raids of today's youth and bodily. Crush the glass for my pain.
Music might actually be one of the greatest songs that I've like ever heard in rap music. I don't know where to rank it, but it ranks pretty fucking high. With the Bizarre's verse is so fucked up that if I ever perform this live somewhere as a cover, I'd want somebody else to do Bizarre's verse because it's just you want to know why my hands are so numb? Because my grandmother sucked my dick and I didn't. I just I don't know. And then like
It's hard to
Con
like.
Artist comes in and he's okay and no, it's Conniva is the first one. Conniva, you know he says conniving con. I thought he said Conniva con the whole time. He says conniving con in the beginning line. Anyway. And then the chorus, holy shit, is that an anthem of a fucking chorus?
But it's made to be like a fight song for like teenagers, and so it's just like to like rile them up and like get them like pumped up and like ready
Rage
to
out,
like
maybe?
be
Then,
aggressive.
No, that's what it is. It's for the kid who got picked on and shit, you know. And
But then this is where he wants people to like.
Well, then you got.
I'll let you say it.
So then you got like the other verses coming in. So you got Swifty, you got Proof, you got Con Artist, and they're all rapping about being violent and fighting and shit. And Eminem just flips the script on it and drops like the greatest. This might be one of my favorite Eminem verses. If I had to rank all the verses, it's a top 5. And just the whole thing. Like, I didn't write down the whole thing, but just if I could capture the rage of today's youth and bottle it, crush the glass with my bare hands and swallow it. You hear the grass breaking.
Yep.
And spit it back into faces of you racists and hypocrites who think the same shit but don't say shit. You Liberace's, Versace's, and you Nazis. Watch me because you figured you got me in this hot seat. You motherfuckers want to judge me because you not me. You'll never stop me. I'm top speed and you pop me. Then he goes in to talk about how he's here to save the kids and give them fucking an icon to represent because their parents are shit.
Yep.
And he's the And I'm like, thematically though, you got to admit, 5 verses and then Shady's verse, and it's a little bit like, it's a little different, is all I'm trying to say. Don't get me wrong. This beat from the very beginning, from the whole way through, fuck, it's amazing. If Bizarre wasn't on this track doing that shit, I'd probably give it a 6. But Bizarre makes it come down to a 5. And the music video's dope. You got Ice-T, which is cool because they interloped him on their intro.
Yeah.
And he's talking about how there's finally harmony between like the rap groups and the R&Bs and everybody's finally good. Except for D12. And it's all like mocking the Warriors movie/video game shit. Where they're all like, anyway, if you've seen it, you know what I'm talking about. If you haven't seen it, you
And
wouldn't.
fun fact about like the music video, Eminem has a broken arm and he's wearing a cast in that video. His arm got hurt because him and Nataz, I don't know who that is, got into like a big argument and got, I'm guessing, like a physical argument while performing at the, I guess, like backstage of like the Warped Tour.
Yep.
And both of them were banned. So like I don't know if Eminem like exclusively was banned, but like D12 and Nataz were both
all
banned from doing the Warped Tour ever again. So, I mean, that's a good song. That's a good, like, tidbit for, like, the music video, which is fight song or fight music, you know? And it's just like, okay, well, they were just fighting, and this is the shit that deals with. But, I like this song. It was good. It had a good beat. It, like, definitely pumped you up. It was a little bit darker than, like, the last song. But, I mean, it's a good song. I gave it a 4.5 on 5.
Nice. I also, as well, gave it a 4.5 on 5. I like the energy. I like the creativity. Bizarre is bizarre, but the passion behind the message in the song of wanting to be that fight music song is just so heavily there, and I was like, this is really cool. So I gave it a 4 on 5, 4.5 on 5.
Okay, next one is Instigator.
Instigator.
Talk too much. Tell women you said you fucked them. Tell the hardest nigga you said you snuck them.
So apparently, off of the Marshall Mathers LP, you have their track they all did, and Swifty goes, "I'm an instigator, 360 slug penetrator," and that turned into this whole song because of that one line.
That's pretty cool.
Nice.
So the chorus kind of has that, and then Swifty kind of like responds, and they're all just kind of going on about how they start shit.
And like they talk shit, and then people, you know, will show up at their door, and then they're like, "Oh, okay, whoops."
And then Kaniva tells us about how he starts shit, and he like wiles out, and then Swifty comes in, then Con Artist, then Proof, and I'm just like, okay, like there's nothing noteworthy to me on this song.
Yeah.
I like the chorus because it's kind of got like this catchy to it. The beat, doon doon doon. It's got like a nice like earworminess to it, but like none of the lyrics were particularly like quote worthy or profound. It's kind of like one of those, if you really dig this style already, it's exactly what you want from it. But like, yeah. I mean, I give it a 4 in the sense that it's very talented. It's exactly what it's like supposed to be out of, I guess, a D12 song. They're all psychopath killers. It fits the theme of the album and everything. But man, it's just like it's lacking like that distinguishable energy. It's like Proof is really the only one who stands out to me because his voice is so proof, you know, and everyone else is just kind of blends. It blends, and I don't know. Maybe I'm missing something. Anyway, it's a 4 because I recognize the talent, but I don't really, whatever.
Yeah, I find that this song was a little bit lackluster. You know, they're instigating, you know, shit, and like, you know, they shoot people and they don't have any remorse and like all this kind of stuff, and it's just kind of like. And I gave it a 3 on 5. Like, it was a good song, but it wasn't like great. And yeah, I mean, I would skip it.
I feel like fight music was a better version of what this song tried to be.
Yeah.
Just because like in fight music, like I get it that it's about pumping you up and that rage and anger. But being an instigator, talking about killing and shooting first and blasting, I didn't get that much rage or anger from this.
It's not about rage and anger. It's more like I'm a goofy shit disturber. It's more.
I don't
like,
think it's goofy because it's still kind
no,
of.
but I'm
like,
trying to like paraphrase it a bit. It's more in line with like I'm a prankster, except my version of prankster is to start shit in your life. Like, this is what I do for fun. Whereas fight music to me has like this energy. It's this anthem. It's representing something.
Yeah.
Instigator is like, yeah, we're assholes.
Yep,
Okay.
that's it.
That's as far as I got out of this song.
Fair enough.
So they're assholes. I knew that before, though, because they told us many times already. Look, I don't know. Do you like it?
Well, I gave it a 4 on 5. I like it. It's not the greatest song on the album.
Yeah.
No, not by any means. You know which one I do like a little bit more, though?
Which one?
Pimp Like Me.
When I'ma state my name, Swift McVeigh. None of y'all niggas got shit to say.
For the better part of a decade, this certain lyric has been stuck in my head, and I've never put much thought into what song it's from. But then I put this on, and this happened. Well, I'ma state my name, Swift McVeigh. None of y'all Got shit to say. Rhymes keep coming off like toupee. Plus I'm big-headed, running things my way. And I'm like, oh, but you don't understand. I've had that running through my head sporadically throughout the last decade. It's so pumping, this beat, this everything about this song. Here's what I realized. When D12 talks about pimping, it's just so much more energetic and lively and interesting.
Than a lot of other pimping songs.
Think about it. Even Nasty Mind, like, it had a certain funk to it, a certain vibe.
Definitely.
It's almost like if instead of running the niche of being psychopaths, they were just sex freaks the whole time. This album might have been a little bit different, but I dig this track. It's got like this high sense of like creativity, as Chris would say. Like, then you got Proof going in. You got shot lines like, "Where's my scratch? Bitch, that's it. Suck it, stroke it, make me rich. As a token of my appreciation, it's another climb for you to hit." And let's be real.
It's just
like it's
they
so
all have
cold.
hoes. Yeah.
It's so cold. But if you think about everything there is to think about pimping, it really fits the, like they understand what Ice-T and the others have taught them throughout the years, so to speak.
Yep.
Or
and,
maybe
that,
they have.
and that pussy pays me, I don't pay pussy. Or pay for pussy, I guess. So it's like something like that. So they're making money off of these girls that they're all like sleeping with. I don't know.
And then Con Artist has his line, "Go suck dick at a bachelor party. So what if you on your period? Blood never hurt nobody."
Yep.
And they're all like that. And then I actually edited Genius Sanitation today in Bizarre's part because he had something to do with an itch, and if she wants that itch scratched per se, she has to go out on the corner and suck some dick.
And Bizarre says he'll give her like money or drugs for like.
Well, that's what I inferred from this line, because the itch was the crack that she wants from Bizarre, and if she comes out and does her thing, he'll give her the drugs back. And yeah, they're all just kind of blatantly like, but Bizarre goes further. It's like, "Mom, get on the corner, start sucking some dick," and it's like really like fucking like.
Don't do that.
It's really like
don't
it's
pimp your
whatever.
mother.
I have to say, all things considered, the energy on this song, it lifts you up. Like, the problem with Instigator is the song lacked this energy. And I don't even think Eminem's on this song outside the chorus, although
Eminem calls like Kim his hoe or something like that.
Yeah.
And then you're like, what?
Yeah, apparently it's a diss song at Kim that Eminem didn't really do much on.
Yeah, it was weird.
But I give it a 5 because as far as like the well-rounded, like you were going to throw something like a top 5 songs off this album to really convince someone to listen to D12, I'd highly recommend throwing Pimp Like Me on. It's got this fucking great energy. All of them sound like they're having way more fun on this song than some of the other ones we've come across.
Okay. I mean, I liked it. I mean, it was just about like pimping a hoe, and then like they pay like the cops off so that they don't get caught and like this kind of stuff. So they're like up to no good in general. But I don't know. Like I give it a 3.5. Not because I didn't like it, but because I think it's a good song. But I just something about it that just didn't
I can see why you might not like this.
Yeah, maybe it's just like the
much.
whole thing. I don't know.
Nice. I gave it a 4 on 5. The lyrics were pretty cool. I like the intensity of describing the pimp life on how they see it, how they make their money, how they kind of treat the women they got to work with and they got to do. The only thing, though, was just the beat didn't really do it for me a little bit. I was just a little bit like...
There's real guitars, real bass.
I
This
get
one
that.
sounded a little Jeff Bassy to me. I might be wrong. I didn't really look. But I tend to like his work.
Okay.
Fair enough. But yeah, 4 on 5.
All right, don't blow my buzz, please.
All right.
You would notice what I'm talking about when your tongue's rotting out from cotton mouth.
So the one thing that I think really struck out is how Eminem, on top of letting us know he's a psycho and all this shit, is describing like weed as an addiction almost. Like when you end up becoming so dependent on weed that you end up spending a G in the vending machine, you got the munchies, look at you, junk food junkie, potato chips and lunch meat up in the front seat. Sometimes you can get so paranoid from ganja. And I was like, yo, when do you ever hear anyone criticize weed? Even if it's done satirically to make fun of it, but even to point out that, hey, smoking pot will get you fat. Like, you know, it'll
But
drain
like I
your
think
money.
that this is like the whole thing is just like them like all getting high and like don't blow your buzz. And I think that like he's also talking about like when you're high, that you've got like all of this like crazy stuff that's going on in your mind or whatever. And I think he just doesn't want to like kill that, even though it's like could be causing you damage or not causing you damage, I guess, but like freaking you out.
Which is completely fair, but it's interesting just to see that anyone frames weed in
as
a
like a bad
negative
thing.
way. Because
Yeah.
it's never. It's almost like always the glorious, all everybody loves it thing, which isn't necessarily always the case. But and the fact that he brings up junk foods and all that shit, like, hey, you might just lose all your money in the junk machine,
Well,
Anyway,
put spending a G in the vending machine.
otherwise it's like, I don't know, bizarre
It's all
plans on
about
date
them, like-
raping some girl.
Yeah, don't.
Swift is like, bruv, go away, leave me alone.
Con artist
People
was
asking
crying.
dumb shit.
Well,
Kaniva
like-
and con artists are doing the D12 purple pills. I don't know why I say D12. The purple pills thing again here. But they do it well. Apparently, I found out they were in a duo together prior to being in D12, so it shows they have a
interesting.
good chemistry. Then proof comes in. At the end of the day, the chorus is fun. Like, the song has this like high sense of fun, but it's like Purple Pills light,
Yeah.
and I don't really dig it as much. So 4 on 5.
Yeah, I mean, for me, like, there wasn't a lot to be said by any of them. Like, they were all kind of saying, like, similar things. Kind of giving you, like, the same feel. Like, they just want to be left alone when they get high, and they don't want to, like, deal with anybody.
Right.
And so, like, that's kind of, like, the gist of the entire song. And so, yeah, like, there wasn't really that much that was great. I give it a 3 on 5. Yeah.
Yeah.
I gave it a 4 on 5. I think that the funniness and the creativeness of being able to have conversations within the verses, a lot of the back and forth is cool. It's talented.
It was only with Kaniva and con artists. There was very little other back and forth.
Still, it's still cool. Still in the verse. Still on the track.
It made it sound like it was all over. There was not one verse.
But as well, there's not much to it, but it's not a bad track. So 4 on 5.
Okay.
All right. Did you guys know Obie Trice, real name, no gimmicks, is back?
Yep.
I'm mad as hell. First you got Eminem. This nigga say he's gonna get me on his album. No shit.
So Proof's being a radio DJ,
DJ 7 Deuce is his alter ego.
and then Rondell is back and is complaining, and he's like, "Oh, you guys don't know me, and Eminem promised me some album time, blah 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 blah, and he just signed a new guy." And then Obie Trice raps for 30 seconds, and just kind of says, "Yeah, I'm Shady Records like the Marshall Mathers up." Go fuck yourself, man. Anyway, Obie Trice does what he does. I'm not saying Obie Trice is bad. He has his moments over his career. This was a lame verse to me. It didn't do anything to make me want to listen to more Obie Trice.
Yeah.
And so I gave this a 3.5 on 5. Like, it's not bad. It's just okay.
For me, like, it just, like there wasn't really that much. I found that this one was a bit unclear about, like, what, maybe I missed it. Maybe, like, whatever, like, the whole point of this one was. It was a bit unclear. It was a bit kind of stupid. I didn't really like it that much. I gave it a 2 on 5. I mean, it was
fair.
nothing. There was nothing for me.
3.5. I honestly thought Obie just joined D12.
I
Like
don't know.
the way it was sound, like I get
it
I'm
was
finally
kinda
signed
like,
to Shady Records, all this stuff. I
Well,
was like,
'cause it was what the guy said in the part before con artist's alter ego. He said
Right.
first they signed D12, and now they just signed this separate new guy.
Yeah.
So it's
So, like, so Obie talks about being, like, an underground rapper, but, like,
Yeah.
then talks about, like, D12 being shit or being, like, I don't know. It was
I
it
think
was
he's
weird
just
for
trying to
me.
imply, hey, I'm part of the crew, like in the Shady Records crew. This was a plug because they had just signed Obie Trice, and they wanted to give him
Oh.
some time on, and they not on M's record, obviously, but they put him on this one. Then
Okay.
he got his time on the next album, the Eminem Show. Yeah, we reviewed the Eminem Show. You can check in the corner over there. And then he has that verse on Drips. I don't like Drips. Let's talk about Devil's Night.
All right, let's do it.
Stop it, but you can't do it. A whole generation of kids blowing out their fucking brains through the
So Devil's Night is just like one of those tracks where they're like, it starts off with this ominous, like, you're kind of
Creepy,
getting like the
eerie
sense
feel.
of like how we described Devil's Night earlier.
Yeah.
It is that like setting,
The Troublesome
and
Night.
then they come out and do their thing. My favorite part of this song is between Eminem and Swifty's handoff, where M goes, as soon as they heard it, went out and murdered it and maimed it to it. What's your name? And then immediately Swifty comes in with Judas. Got my 9 and 6 sharpshooters. Let's do this, and moves on. But it was really well done because you got like the symbolism of like Judas, the bad guy, whatever, and they're
Yeah.
playing it through. And the song kind of like follows suit with that. After Swifty, we get the hook. then Con Artist, Conniva, more Bizarre, and I just kind of find it really hard to get into. At the end of the day, all the verses were kind of like I felt like M was shorter, so yeah, there's some more time for other guys, but nobody was overly interesting. It was just a bunch of lyrics that were laid out with this devilish theme.
Yeah. The
Definitely,
whole song is just like about being bad.
but like it was like even the chorus, like Eminem's the devil reincarnate coming back. It just doesn't feel authentic on this song, whereas other songs may have sold it better. To me, it's a 3.5 on 5. I don't have a lot more to go here.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very hard beat when you hear this song, but it's like a weird, like just a weird song, I think. For me, like, I don't know. Like, and then I got stuck again on like Bizarre's verse when he talks about like being, drugs are good, and then he talks about peeing the bed still at 18, and he's like, and his diaper's wet, and you're just like, what?
He lost his weed.
And he lost his weed,
That's
and like it was just like we don't need some things we don't need to know. Like if you're still wearing a diaper at 18, maybe you need to go to the doctor or something because you're sleeping too hard during the night. But anyways, and then he talks about like, or not him, but they talk about like that listening to Kurt Cobain, and then like everybody's shooting their brains out, but because that's what he did, and it's just sort of like that like bad influence is just like overarching. Like this whole song is just about a bad influence and like Devil's Night and like how that's like a bad thing that you can do, and it's just about them being bad in general. And so like it wasn't that great. I gave it a 4 on 5, but it's a good song, but it's just not like the best.
I give it a 4 on 5. I think it was actually produced well. I like the vibe to the beat. I like the eeriness, the devil creepiness to it. I took every once I listened to it a couple of times, I kind of understood that every verse was an experience, or experiences throughout each of the individuals' lives, and at a certain point, Eminem coming in onto the chorus, being like he's the devil reincarnating. It's kind of like he's singing it for everybody that it's the devil's night. They're reincarnating, coming back and taking what's rightfully theirs after being treated and like picked on and bullied and going just through some of the like the really traumatizing shit they talk about in their verses. And I thought it was really cool. I don't think it was spectacular. I think there could have been other, like maybe a little bit different or something else that could have made it a little bit better, but it wasn't bad. So,
All right.
4 out of 5.
And then Steve Berman shows up with another skit.
Yeah.
Clear.
I hate you. What the fuck have I ever done to you? Your last record, we got.
So, from what we can get, is Steve has only heard fight music, and we know that because of the line he gives about Bizarre, and he is not very thrilled with this album.
He's not happy with Bizarre. He's like,
very unhappy.
who's this guy?
Yeah.
And he's kind of like, you got lucky last time. What are you trying to do to me? Blah, blah, blah. Get out. And then you can see Eminem getting frustrated.
He's like, you've only heard one song.
And then, yeah, that's kind of.
And then, like, Steve Berman's just like, get out! And,
Like loses his mind.
Like, he's just, like, not
I
happy.
could picture him just be like, ah! Just like throwing papers and shit.
Yeah.
So, like, in like the grand scheme of things, I appreciate this skit and give it a 4. But
Yeah.
it's a Steve Berman skit. It's kind of got this certain charm to it now, you know?
Yep. I gave it a 3.5.
I gave it a 4. And from what we've heard before of it, it follows with the series. So.
Yep.
All right. It's almost like he had a revelation.
Almost.
I'm still debating in front of a Baptist church, masturbating, playing Satan.
Okay, I just want to talk about Revival. We complained a bit about how bad Rick Rubin's interpolations of like Joan Jett and the Cranberries were, because how little effort he did to like put into the beats. What they did to Pink Floyd's Another Brick in the Wall Part 2 here was really amazing. So you could tell it's the same song based on how you can hear it a bit in the chorus.
Yeah.
You can kind of hear the bass notes in the beat, but they really fucked it up in a way that made it its own experience.
The
here.
end?
No, all of it, the whole way through.
Okay.
You can hear it in like the beats made from that song.
Mm-hmm.
Well done. I just wanted to give props for that as due. And this is an interesting song because it kind of describes why each member either isn't down for school or isn't able to go to school or whatever.
Yeah.
Which has a high level of like intelligence.
Well, a lot of them have like shitty childhoods,
That's
and like
it.
there was just things that were going on, you know, even in their teen years
Even,
that like
bizarre,
made them.
like if you really think about it, tired of getting hit in the face with a broom, My mom's on her period. My dad's in my room. Daddy, no. That's just fucked up. But you got to imagine that happens. As much as it's ridiculous, it is a reason why somebody might not give a fuck about school.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And the next verse, con artist, how would you feel if you was held by the tip of a barrel, getting threatened to get your skin ripped to the bone marrow? Bet suburban kids never get rushed for their apparel. Eminem goes in describing how music helped him cope when he was brainwashed by it and wild out and stuff. Kind of got kicked out of school.
Yep.
Hey, look at that. He's rich, stupid. He's proud of that. Swift goes on more of like the broken home stuff. Same as Kaniva. Now, Proof is where the song gets fucking interesting. Since he's describing the bullying again. Like, Swift seems to really be impacted by bullying. And since my friend is this new dude in this high school, losing his noodles, learned that people don't like you. The football jocks is spitting on him. Popular kids in school is not picking on him. And then it kind of like goes in like that, and it's just saying, well, why would you want to... So you listen to his song, you have all this broken shit at home, school's a bullshit environment, there's no real education being given, and then you have like the streets that are teaching these guys, so like, I don't want to go to school, and it's I don't need no education, with, like the Pink Floyd under
I think that they all hated it, and like they all just wanted to party, but like they wanted to party and they wanted to die. I think like those were like the two things that they wanted to like get away from, and that like this education wasn't going to do either of those things for them because they just wanted to get away from like all like the bad things that they were doing, or that was happening to them.
Because I don't think this one's so much about they were doing bad things. This is one of more of the songs of, this is our environment. This is the type of bullshit that's happening to us. And because this is
like they want to leave every day from their homes probably, but they just want to like hang out with their friends and like do what they do and like fuck around.
Because honestly, going to school has no point. It's not going to change shit for you. And I love that line about the suburban kids because I've recently, like, there's so many experiences. We were just watching Shameless, and on Shameless even, they show the difference between the private school system and the public school system, the quality of education, just how it is, man. How different life and radically it is. So this go to school blind mantra is pretty stupid in and of itself. Anyway.
Yeah.
I give this a 5. I love what they did with this song. I love how they fucked with the beat. I love the part at the end where Eminem's like, if you don't eat your pudding, how can you have it? Anyway, I said it backwards, but like I love that he did it. It's a really paying homage to that song and really doing it really well.
I don't know. This wasn't like my favorite song. I know that, you gave it a great mark and whatever, but like for me, like this just wasn't. It again, like it didn't hit like the mark for me. Like it wasn't great. It was interesting, to hear about these people's like childhoods or like the way that they were brought up and like what they needed to escape from and like the things that were happening to them in their lives. But for me, like it wasn't. I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't want to be at that school kind of school if like that's what's going on. But I gave it a 3 on 5.
I just don't think it was an empty "don't go to school's bad"
No.
song.
I don't think it was like a "don't go to school." It was "don't go to school," or I don't want to go to school because these things are happening to me, and like it's not going to make any difference.
Right.
I gave the song a 4.5 on 5. I think it's really great that they acknowledge that there is some type of these issues that do impact kids who go to school. That they're able to express themselves and be very honest how they were affected and how they had to deal with some situations.
And didn't Eminem get like beat up and like hit in the head and like that's why he, like
the
that
thing with
stuff.
the Eminem verse though is that you can get a lot more detail from a lot of his own solo albums on his life. Like it didn't really. I was more interested in the D12 characters. I get Eminem's part of it. But like
I don't know how literal everyone else's verses were, but
I understand that.
I think again it's context setting, right? Like they're trying to frame your mind and go as much as you think what you think. Here's where I think they're being a little educational and trying to let you know, well, consider this point of reality, consider this reality, consider that kid who gets molested by his dad. You think he's thinking about school?
Yeah, no. Well, as an escape maybe, but then if it's just hell in there too, then why do you want to go anywhere?
That's it. And I guess that's one left.
All right, girls. Let's do girls.
Girls.
Had I not opened a magazine and seen what you saying it, I'd have never involved you. But
I got these memories of like 2006-07. YouTube's just come out. We're all like, wow, the music's coming out, right? Because you no longer need the discs to listen to shit.
Okay.
And we used to spend long hours going over the Eminem beefs. listening to every track related to Eminem versus Everlast, Eminem versus this one.
I think I was too busy watching Shoes.
And so this song, like, it would have been one of those ones where you just put it on right there in the middle. And once upon a time, I would have thought this was the greatest shit ever. But do you know how little I care about Eminem's beef with Fred Durst in 2017? Like,
And it's such a weird song because it's like, I feel like it should be on maybe like one of his albums or just like a solo thing or whatever,
Well,
because like none of the other
keep in
guys are
mind,
on this
it's
song.
It's pre-internet, and Eminem was going on wax, on the record, laying what he had to say. So it was an effective way to say to the world, this is my response to Fred Durst and stuff, without putting it on his album.
Because like it just didn't fit. Because I mean, this is
to
the
be
last
fair,
song on the album.
It was a secret track at first. It wasn't actually like you would have got the disc and it might not have been listed, and it would have been that thing where the last song's like 15 minutes and you had to wait like 20 seconds of silence.
Okay.
So to be fair, it wasn't like a D12 song. It was a bonus track of sorts, or secret. And the whole intent was Eminem just outlaying beef. And he seems really rational.
Like he's pissed off with Limp Bizkit, Everlast, and dilated
DJ
dilated
Lethal.
peoples.
And he's basically like describing how like, yo, I had my beef here with Everlast. Why did you Limp Bizkit guys got to go say some shit? We was all cool. Why'd you have to show up for this song? And like all of this, just who cares? Is my big thought. I mean, it's a really good song. In terms of, it is a decent song. Eminem puts some logical shit down on paper,
But it's just the entire song is about Fred
One
Durst
big beef.
and Limp Bizkit.
Yeah,
and you're like,
and, like,
why?
because back then it was a big deal. And they all cared a lot about it. And
I
at the
guess.
end, I do like the part where he's like, just stop saying my name. Stop mentioning me. Stop bringing me into your shit to get
And like
views
he
and fame.
says
so
also
I
too
get all
like
that.
the song was leaked and it wasn't meant to be, and like he
Like,
didn't
yeah.
want to like give that much time
So
to
that
him.
was
And
something prior to this, which sparked a beef. One
Yeah.
of the speculation is it's I think the one over Hit 'Em Up that D12 did. Anyway, basically he was like, yeah, I let off some steam in the studio. I got out and y'all took it too far. Anyway, it was just like, don't talk shit, back up your words. And it's not that great of a dish song of sorts. It's more of an explanation. Anyway, I give it a 4. It's well made for what it is, but holy shit, is this stuff all dated. And folks out there, if you go on right into your beef stuff, you had to know Limp Bizkit wasn't going to be anything anyone cared about later on. Like when Cameron and Mace went at it recently, people still care about these guys. Who the fuck cares about Fred? I like Limp Bizkit. I like Limp Bizkit, but I heard Golden Cobra. Nobody cares about anything they do now.
yeah, and like they have like that keep rolling.
Yeah.
Like
Well
and
placed.
yes, I mean it was good. But like this whole song, like for me, like where's the band? Where like I don't care.
Again,
yeah,
the
I know.
part
I've
where
already
the
said
band,
it.
the bonus track. I
Yes.
think that's that explains it.
Yes, but I mean, like, and he talks about like how they're, they would all kill, die for each other, and they're all good, buddies and whatever, and that, I just didn't like it. I thought it was bad. It didn't fit. It just felt weird and off, like this whole song, and I just didn't care about it, and I wanted the rest of the band, and yeah, and anyways, I gave it a 2 on 5.
Okay, and yeah,
3.515. Honestly, I get it. Secret track. He has to clear the slate, go on wax. Cool. I don't care. In 2017, I don't care.
Yeah, it's very dated.
Look, I
In
know
fact,
that.
I like Everlast.
Yeah.
The thing is, I guess I'll understand more about the culture and the reason why this is a thing and why this is part of a classic.
This is just they had a beef and they were beefing, and this was
Okay.
part. So you know
Because
how
I honestly just didn't care.
This is the equivalent of
Like-
back to back, and you know how much you like back to back now.
I don't
that-
care about back to back.
Exactly. So if you care about the beef, obviously you care about this
Okay.
song. But like back in the day, like people cared about this beef.
Yeah, for
But
some reason.
it's 16 years later, and Fred Durst doesn't exist, and frankly, Eminem is just so big he wouldn't even bother anymore.
Yeah.
Anyway, I get your point. You're right. It's just Fred. It's just the fact that it's a whole diss track at Limp Bizkit. Like,
Who cares?
so yes, if you're feeling like that in this case, I totally get you. And if you guys disagree, that's fine. But be real. Be real with yourself. Be real like how Be Real was real on this song. Isn't it a little dated? That's all I'm trying to say.
Yeah. Like, do you guys remember like the Fred Durst and
Yeah.
Eminem
Yes.
controversy? I'm asking them. I'm not asking you now, am I?
Okay. I was answering for you. Sorry. Let us know in the comments what you think about that. On that note, this album is pretty dope. What I like about this album is that it's consistently strong. Like, nothing's bad about it. And a lot of my beef with it is more preference than what I'm looking for in music. I give it a 4.1. I would call this a classic album of sorts.
Interesting, yeah.
But I don't know if I'd really call it a classic. I think it just worked out like that. Like, listening to it now, I like it less than I liked it when I was younger. I find it less impressive now. It's an interesting album, but there's not a lot here. Like, there's songs on here I really like, but I don't think the album is amazing, if you know what I mean. Like, it's just consistently good if you're into that kind of pseudo-horrorcore feel.
Like, I would put, like, Purple Pills on, like, repeat. But, like, the rest of them, maybe some of them. But, like, I don't know. I gave it a 3.72, so like a 74% for this album. So not a classic Quest rating, or not a classic rating, but like it's still a good album. If you like Eminem, you're gonna love it. If you haven't already listened to it, listen to it. But yeah, I mean, like I said, some of it's a bit dated, some of it's very interesting, and then there's like a lot of weird things that happen in it. But I don't know. I thought it was okay.
Fair point.
Nice. 4.13.
Well,
that's it.
It's a good album. I enjoy D12. I enjoy Eminem. Just to retouch upon what we brought in the beginning, it's really weird listening to Revival and then listening to this right after and seeing the big comparison within Eminem's growth and then all this.
Don't you miss him? I miss that like young, like not giving a fuck kind of person.
Not after
now
all
he's
of
like
the...
old and political.
Okay, so
to be honest,
I miss it when it's like a project he puts his full effort into. I
Yeah.
just feel like a lot of this was the group effort.
Yeah.
And Eminem participated like a group member.
Yes.
And I feel like Eminem's the shining star of this album, and a few of the other guys stand up next to him. But so I don't really miss this. I miss maybe some parts of the Marshall Mathers LP and stuff.
Maybe I'm just nostalgic.
I'm not saying I don't miss younger Eminem. I'm saying that this album isn't really giving me the feeling that I miss this.
Yeah, that's true.
Definitely. But 4.13, so.
All right.
Classic rating for me.
Let us know what you think.
So yeah, thank you all for watching. We really appreciate it. If you just skipped ahead to the end, remember we are having a contest. So if you hit the subscribe button, like the video, and leave a comment related to the album, you will be eligible to win some Amazon money. We really do appreciate you guys. This show's all about you and the community we're trying to put together of music nerds and music lovers discussing it. I mean, fuck, if you sat through a long-ass podcast, props to you. So we'll catch you next week with more music love. And feel free to tweet Chris. And if you tweet Chris and you actually do it, it's been 4 weeks now. Nobody's tweeted him.
I've tried.
We'll read it on the podcast. Or you can leave a comment and we'll read your comment next week if you're the lucky winner of the best comment, which is just your name appearing. On that note, have a great night. Bye.
Merry Christmas, guys, and happy holidays.